Mick Corrigan here from Action Coach, and today I'm joined by Craig Aston. Craig is the CEO of Celerity Ltd. Welcome, Craig. Great to have you on board.
Thanks, Mick. Good to be here.
So tell us all about Celerity.
Yeah, no problem at all. So, Celerity, the business has been around since 2002, founded as an IT reseller up between Preston and Blackpool by two guys who'd worked together previously. Very much in the IBM space originally, reselling big pieces of equipment, and we've been transitioning ourselves over the last 7, 8 years to become a managed service provider. So, I joined Celerity in 2017. And was made CEO last year. We're growing. We're about 90 people, primarily in the enterprise customer space, providing services in the data center and more latterly managed security services, as I say, to large enterprise customers and also customers in the public sector.
Okay, great summary, and congratulations on your move to CEO.
Thank you very much.
So what sort of industries would that be generally that you're dealing with?
The industries that we're dealing with, we have a lot of customers in the financial services sector, in particular insurance and banking. We have large customers in utilities. The sort of common denominator is they are all customers who've completely bought into the hybrid cloud. So they have their own IT equipment, data centers, various other things like that, plus they're using the cloud. So it's large IT providers. If you look in the public sector, we have a number of NHS trusts as customers from anywhere from Orkney all the way down to Dorset and anywhere in between. We also have a number of local councils and local authorities that we deal with, with a number of different services that we provide to them, whether that service is actually impacting the community or also just looking more at the cybersecurity side, managed backup, how to make sure if you get hit by a cyber attack that you can get things back. It's a big subject at the moment.
I'll bet, yeah, yeah. So great breadth there, isn't there?
Yeah, it is a great breadth. It's we there are certain verticals which we hadn't really traded in until recently. We didn't do a great deal with retail, but we have started to do some more there. But as I say, it's large employers who have their own, they tend to have their own IT departments, IT shops, and have their own kit as well as using the cloud. And it's trying to it's trying to do mission critical things in a efficient way, but it's also areas where you can't get stuff wrong. So it's those real systems where they have to be up 24/7 and not go wrong.
So
We're
you
very much a trusted advisor for our customer base and have been for a number of years.
and a pretty important spoke in the wheel there, I would imagine, by the sounds of it.
It's yes, absolutely. And it's a big wheel. The market has changed a lot in the last few years, whereby you used to get very large outsourcing contracts and various other things where a customer would turn over the whole of their IT to a big organization. However, it's definitely changing, and you're definitely getting the situation where the market is you do what you're good at and what you're really expert at, and it's not quite staying in your lane, but it's not far off. The other thing that's meaning is we're partnering with more other organizations. So there are organizations we talk to who we would have competed with 10 years ago, whereas now we actually partner with them to deliver a better service into our customer base.
Oh, right. So you're kind of focusing on a specific area and becoming
Yes.
a bit of a niche of one in the area that you
Uh,
represent
That's absolutely
in
true.
that
Yeah.
field. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's looking at business critical systems. It's also around data. So it's around data security, data orchestration, so knowing where your data is, but then also into the backup and managed recovery of that data in the cyber world. We really are a data company now, and whether that's storing that data, managing that data, securing that data, transforming that data, it's the whole data play, because in reality, all big businesses are data businesses. Now, everybody wants to be a digital business, so in order to do that, you have a lot of data to be able to make it happen.
And so you're experts in your field,
Hmm.
but I guess for your clients, there are other options that they might be able to go to. What
Yeah.
would you say differentiates um, your business? What
Um,
differentiates Celerity amongst the others that might be out there?
It's a really good question. There's a number of things our customers would say. One of our real strengths is technical skill. So we have a 50 strong technical team who are real experts in the deep technology fields they work in. And in some ways, it's not the sexy technology fields that everybody's working in cloud and various other things now. It's much more of the some of the older technologies, but technologies that are still in use and still frankly running the world. Um, there's a history angle to us. We've dealt with a lot of our customers both for 20 odd years as Celerity, but then some of the guys were dealing with the people who worked for Celerity before that. So there's a huge amount of trust and relationships in place. And actually, the other thing is the vendors that we work with, so the IBMs of this world, Dell Technologies, Veeam, they trust us because of our accreditations. So we are seen as technical experts by those vendors as well. So if they have a problem or if they have customers where there's a need, they will bring it to us as well. It's a competitive space, but it's a nichey competitive space, if you get what I say,
Mm.
if you get what I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah, yeah. So what does the future look like, Craig?
Um, Well, we took on investment from the Business Growth Fund in November 2003, 2021. We're 3 years into that. We're growing as a business. We did our first acquisition in May last year, bringing on Chile IT into the Celerity family. We'll certainly be looking at other acquisitions as we go forward. Um, we're growing. We're growing at a nice rate. There's likely to be another investment transaction at some point in the future, as we all know, once you're on the private equity treadmill. And it's trying to continue to build a business. We're a proudly northern-based business. We do have people all over the country, but the head office is in between Preston and Blackpool. We've got a technical centre in Doxford Park up in Sunderland. So we're very proud of that. We think we can offer competitive rates. We get access to some fantastic graduates from the Northwest and the Northeast, which has become a really interesting source of people to bring through as the next generation of Celerity's people, in particularly on the technical side. And it's continuing to grow the customer base, and then potentially at some point look internationally.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Yeah, so currently it's total UK.
95% of our work is in the UK. We do have certain customers where we do things overseas, but it's mainly where you've got a UK company who has a division overseas that we'll support as well. We certainly think there is a market overseas for us to look at, particularly in Europe. Europe is a really interesting market in what we're doing, but it's trying to do it in a controlled fashion because I've seen companies try and grow too quickly, and it's a risk whereby you can get out of control very quickly.
Mm. I was going to say actually, what would you see as the challenges with that very exciting future opportunities that you got?
The challenges are the changing world. The world is not a very stable place at the moment. I would be very honest and say Brexit has made our life more difficult. If we want to move into Europe, we'll have to find a way of doing it, which is a different way of doing it. Skills is the big thing. We need to be able to find more skills and actually future-proof our services to make sure that they're ready for the next 2 to 5 years. And it's quite an investment heavy model because you're actually building and spending money before you're actually starting to see the fruits in the 2 years afterwards. So having the right partner in the room with BGF has been great with us so far, but it's looking at that next level. If we want to go and do more acquisition, do we actually grow organically? Do we grow by acquisition? Those are the choices that we're making at the moment. But I would say, yeah, the key thing is skills. Finding good people is always really difficult.
And Craig, you've been on a great journey there. You've demonstrated some fantastic success. Um, from people that are watching this, from SME business owners up to corporate leaders, what do you say are the learnings that you've experienced that you'd love to pass on?
Oof, that's a fantastic question. Um, I think from an SME point of view, um, having grown the business from 25 people to nearly 100, people is everything. Your people are absolutely everything. And I would also say preparation and understanding how different it is running a 75-person business to running a 25-person business is key, and bringing in expertise where you need to, if you don't think the people necessarily in your organization are ready for that transition to the larger business. I think going through the investment cycle we went through with BGF, knowing what the outcome should look like for the shareholders is absolutely crucial. Having absolute certainty on that is it is the most important thing, and doing an enormous amount of preparation. When you're into these investment cycles, it eats up your time and it takes you away from the day-to-day running of the business. And actually using some of the advisors in the market to get ready, it may seem like an awful lot of money when you're actually spending it to get ready, but actually it saves a fortune, and it makes these transactions much more seamless and gives you time to actually run the business. I think from a personal point of view, having come through big corporates, I worked for PwC and IBM for a number of years before ending up in Celerity. I think bringing some of the corporate process and corporate discipline into an SME is incredibly hard, but incredibly valuable as you grow. And I think those corporate skills that you get and the real operational discipline is hugely valuable. But then I also now understand the operational agility of having a smaller business, and actually being able to make those decisions and pivot quickly. I think it's having a good network of peers is the other thing I would say. Try and find people who are either going through the same as you or understand the same journey that you're on, because it can be a very lonely place when you're trying to do this, because it's tough, and everybody knows it's tough. But actually having people to talk to, normally informally, is just a brilliant way of doing it.
And if you could do it all again, Craig, what would you do differently?
I would make decisions more quickly. Um, I would probably have left the big corporates a little bit earlier. Actually, I think personally, I think I stayed too long. Um, it's like a comfort blanket being in a big organization, and there are pluses and minuses, but you can certainly make a difference when you leave. Um, and I think just surround yourself with really good people, and make decisions make decisions on people, and put round pegs in round holes. The Sometimes I think in SMEs we're very good at going, oh well, we'll just add that to your job description along with the 10 other things that you're doing, and it just means a lot of things don't get done properly. So actually finding round pegs in round holes and planning for the future, I think is just crucial.
Gets back to people again, doesn't it, Craig?
It does all come back to people. It really
Yeah.
does.
Fantastic. Great learnings. And thanks for sharing that. And I wish you all the best, Craig. Well done.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.